Hey, everybody, I'm Christina from Big Beautiful Sky. Welcome. Today, we're going to talk about the astrology of March. It's shaping up to be big. Not as wild and crazy as February, but we still have February's energy drifting into March, especially in the beginning of the month. So let's get into it. Mercury went retrograde on February 26th in Pisces at 22 degrees. This is messy, especially because we're between eclipses. So all of that energy generated from the eclipses has nowhere to go but backwards. Mercury will be retrograde for 22 days until March 20th when it stations at 8 degrees Pisces. It will be conjunct the North Node. That will be a big day. And until then, everything's going to feel chaotic, especially emotions. As we start March, we're in between eclipses. The solar eclipse was at 28 degrees Aquarius, square Uranus, and that hit on February 17th. A few days later, we had the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries. Then Mercury went retrograde. So all of that energy that was being created is now going backwards. And it feels like we're swirling around. It's like somebody pulled the handbrake. And until Mercury goes direct later in the month, we're jammed up. I'm recording this on March 1st, which in the US is February 28th, but most astrologers were warning everyone about Mars squaring Uranus at the end of February. I did. If you follow me on X or Threads, I post daily. Check me out there, whichever one you prefer. But with Mars squaring Uranus, it's a very volatile, chaotic energy. I talked about it in the February forecast. Because of everything that was happening in Iran, I posted about 5 days ago that the energy towards the end of February was very intense and to be careful, and that Iran was definitely a concern. Once Mars hit Uranus directly square at 27 degrees, it moved on to the eclipse point at 28 degrees, and then the Iran, I don't even know what to call it, Operation Take Over the Oil, Part 2 began. I talked about the potential beginning of World War III in a video I put out in January. When Venezuela was invaded on January 3rd, there was a similar setup in the astrology to the Pearl Harbor attack in 1941, which triggered the US entering World War II. People have been talking about World War III for the past couple of years. I didn't really think we were at the point of World War III until now. Once that January 3rd invasion of Venezuela took off, and I looked at the astrology and I saw a direct correlation between the astrology of January 3rd, 2026 and December 7th, 1941. You look at the Sibley chart, retrograde, Uranus and Taurus square, the US moon. There were also some other things. You'll have to check out the video. It wasn't the exact setup. It was like an inversion. What I've been saying for the past year and a half is that with Pluto in Aquarius opposite Pluto in Leo, where it was during World War II, we're experiencing what I'm calling the World War II inversion, where instead of the US going in and saving the world from fascism, the US is acting quite fascist with the current administration. The US is going into countries that have a lot of oil and causing a lot of chaos. With the Venezuelan invasion, I attributed that to Venezuela's oil reserves, specifically because they export a lot of their oil to China. China relies on oil exports. It doesn't have much of its own at all. Now with Iran, it's the same sort of situation. Iran was exporting, I think, 80% of its oil to China. So here we are. I'm saying that the US has now officially entered World War III, although there's been no official declaration. That is what I'm seeing happening. World War III, in my opinion, was always going to be the US versus China. And now with these two invasions of these oil-rich countries, I think the strategy is to choke China to make sure China can't get its oil. So I know that's not being said as much in the mainstream media, but I think that this invasion of Iran has less to do with Israel and more to do with China. So check out my video. I released it at the beginning of January 2026. Please don't get emotionally wrapped up in it. Do everything you can to prevent it. Just because we're heading down this timeline doesn't mean we have to end up there. Now, back to the astrology. The next eclipse is on March 3rd. It's a blood moon total lunar eclipse. So it's in Virgo at 12 degrees. It's big. We'll have Mars, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus all in Pisces, plus the North Node. Mercury is the ruler of this Virgo eclipse. And since it's retrograde in Pisces, I'm anticipating an economic shock of sorts. With the South Node in Virgo, we've seen job losses and unemployment rising. I expect this to continue. And with the North Node in Pisces, US debt continues to spiral out of control. I'm going to make a video about the nodes and the economy shortly because there's a correlation, there's a cycle that's playing out currently with the South Node in Virgo and the North Node in Pisces. So this eclipse, I think it will be challenging for the US economy. I also put out a 2026 predictions video on YouTube. Check that out. I did see in my remote viewing that March to May could present an economic shock. This could be related to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Oil can't get out. Oil prices could rise sharply. This could put a huge dampener on the economy. Invest your money and your energy wisely. If things go on sale, buy it. Make sure you have savings and get out of debt. So with this lunar eclipse in Virgo, on a personal level, check where Virgo falls in your chart. Is this eclipse aspecting anything? If it is, take note. That's your message. That's your cue. That's your next steps. Virgo wants you to clean up your life, to ditch the toxic habits, to remove the old energy and things you've been collecting that you no longer need. It's saying heal. Healing is hard work. That's why Virgo is such a hard worker, and it requires dedication. So focus on your health right now. And with so much in Pisces opposite this eclipse, take stock of your addictions, your mental health. We live in an addicted society. How can you free yourself from it? With this Virgo South Node eclipse, let go. With the sextile from Jupiter and Cancer, there's supportive healing energy for you to tap into. So instead of getting wrapped up in the news and the current events of the chaos going on right now, block all of that out, especially on the eclipse, and focus on your health and well-being. That's my advice. Clean your house. Might as well. Moving forward, we have a Pisces pileup in March. There's just a ton of planets in Pisces. It's going to feel kind of muddy and foggy and confusing until we get to the equinox. It could feel a bit like a drag. On March 4th, Venus is in Pisces. It's sextile Uranus and Taurus, which I think is actually kind of fun and also a nice opportunity to maybe take stock and do some healing. On the 5th, the sun in Pisces is trine Jupiter, which is lovely. So take advantage of that day. On the 6th, Venus leaves Pisces and enters Aries. So that's one less planet in Pisces. Venus will also be conjunct Neptune and then Saturn. So on the 7th and 8th, Venus is aspecting Neptune and Saturn. Then she's sextile Pluto on the 9th. Now, Venus and Saturn could mean another slug to the financial market. So watch your personal finances and relationships from about March 7th to 9th. On March 10th, the big news is Jupiter stations direct in Cancer at 15 degrees. It's been retrograde since November 11th, 2025. It's stationed at 25 degrees. I'm curious to see what happens again with financial markets with Jupiter stationing. I've been looking at Vedic, and in Vedic, Jupiter is in Gemini. I'm curious to see if Jupiter stationing has any effect on Bitcoin. I'm also watching Uranus to see if either planet has an effect on Bitcoin's price. Bitcoin's quite low at the moment. So Uranus ingresses back into Gemini in April. When Uranus hit Gemini, Trump passed the Genius Act and crypto went through the roof. So we'll see what happens. But once we get to March 10th, the energy starts to become clear, especially with Jupiter stationing direct. So that's something to look forward to. Now, on March 18th, 19th, depending where you are, we have the Pisces new moon. This new moon is the 7th in a series of 7 sequential new moons at 28 degrees. We had the Virgo solar eclipse at 28 degrees, the Libra new moon, the Scorpio new moon, the Sagittarius new moon, the Capricorn new moon, and then the Aquarius solar eclipse at 28 degrees. Now we have the Pisces new moon at 28 degrees. This is really profound. We've been going through this very transformative shamanic process of letting go with all the new moons at this final degree. So it's a huge ending, hence the Pisces new moon being the last in this series of 28 degrees. And I find this incredible because the next day we hit the astrological new year. So look at your chart. These new moons have moved across 180 degrees of the zodiac. So the cycle began in Virgo on the solar eclipse, and it's ending in Pisces, opposite where it all started. There could be a very clear theme. What have you had to let go of? What have you been processing? Look at the house that occupies Virgo in your chart. Look at your Virgo planets. Now track across your chart and look at Pisces. What sectors of your chart have been affected by these new moons? I expect that by March 19th, the last of the new moons at 28 degrees, we're going to be in an entirely new dimension and frequency. On March 20th, Mercury stations direct, which means all the planets are direct until May 6th. So we're going to get this massive burst of energy because remember, all that energy from the eclipses got all backed up because Mercury retrograde. So as soon as it stations direct, not only are we entering into the astrological new year and the equinox, but all the energy from those eclipses that's been backed up is going to be released. So I'm excited about this energy. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to timeline shift, move forward, do whatever you have to do, but really plan on hitting some of your goals during this time. The next day, on March 21st, the sun is at 0 degrees Aries, marking the start of the new astrological year and the spring or autumn equinox. So on the 21st of March, we have the sun, Saturn, Neptune, Venus, Chiron, and the moon all in Aries. It's a huge amount of energy that you can just use to blast forward. It's so initiating. Consider this your initiation into 2026. This is the time to plant seeds, to set intentions, to start hitting those goals. It's a brand new era, so celebrate it. And with so much Aries energy, take action, be brave, forge into the unknown. Now is the time to get frisky and risky. Looking forward to April. There's also a comet headed towards the sun on April 4th. On April 17th, we have a new moon at 27 degrees Aries and a pileup of planets in Aries, Neptune, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, and Chiron, all conjunct the new moon. From March 20th until May 6th, 7th, it is incredible how much energy is coming, especially with this comet. I don't know what it all means, but I'm so excited to see what happens. It's go, go, go time. So start planning now. You have the support of the cosmos in whatever it is you set your mind to do. Don't miss this window. It might be the best energy of the year. To finish out the month, on March 22nd, the sun is in Aries conjunct Neptune. And then on the 25th, the sun is in Aries conjunct Saturn and sextile Pluto in Aquarius. I feel like the sun is setting the wheels in motion for this Saturn-Neptune conjunction. The sun is saying, yes, it's official. There's a new era. The new era has arrived. We've entered the new paradigm. So the sun has initiated Saturn. It's initiated Neptune and Aries. And then on March 30th, to finish out the month, Venus enters Taurus, where she is exalted. And it's a really beautiful way to finish out March. So I hope you enjoy the month. Please leave me comments. Let me know how you're going. How is February? How is March shaping up for you? Let's build a community. Let's support each other. There's a lot of change coming. It can be really scary, but it's also an incredibly exciting time. So please reach out. I'm here for you at bigbeautifulsky.com. Book a session, and I wish you all the best. Take care.